Nintendo is trying to shut down the Dolphin emulator. This is pretty big news. Let's talk about it, shall we? Hello, hi, I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video. Piracy isn't what it used to be. Modern day pirates are pampered soft babies compared to the pirates of ye old days. Modern pirates don't even have to worry about hanging from the gallows or being keel-hauled for their exploits. These days, piracy is just, it's a touchy subject, especially in the retro game world. I like to think that I'm an ethical guy. I have my own moral code. I buy the games that I want to play when I can, as long as my money goes to support the publishers or the developers. And if I can't buy them, like if I want to play Spy vs. Spy on the NES or whatever, then I don't have any issue downloading it to play because there's nobody I could even pay to buy the game from. So today we got to talk about something that I really don't want to talk about. I hate conflict. I want everybody to get along. I want gamers to be able to emulate their old games, to enjoy all the games they bought and love, and I want game makers to make lots of money from the games that they're making. And if they're selling their old games, then I want them to make lots of money from their old games. And if they're not selling their old games, then I want gamers to be able to have a way to play those games, whether it's through emulation or downloading the games like a filthy pirate or whatever. The way I see it, if it's a victimless crime, then nobody has a right to complain. Nintendo is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of company. On the one hand, they make good, fun hardware that plays the games that they made for us that we love. Mario, Metroid, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Smash Brothers, all those good old Nintendo franchises are wholesome fun for the whole family. But then on the other hand, they're a company that acts like they freaking hate their customers. They're probably the worst of all the game storefronts in terms of taking away your access to products that you've paid for, or taking away your ability to buy things on their storefronts. Back in the days of the Wii, I spent so much money on the Wii Shop channel. All these old re-releases of NES and SNES games, buying those was novel to me at the time, and I was happy to buy them again so that I'd have them digitally forever. And then my Wii died. It got knocked out by a power surge. So I replaced it because I love the Wii, and that was when I realized what a stupid system it was. The games are tied to the Wii itself, and there was no way for me to re-download my purchases on my new Wii. No account, no recovery, just nothing. Like an idiot, I gave Nintendo my money assuming they'd have my back, but they didn't at all. So I modded my new Wii, and I got all my old games back. I just downloaded the pirated versions. Thanks to the homebrew and modding community, I could play my games. And yet the company that I bought them from was, and still is, actively trying to stop that from happening. And this is just one example, but it's the tip of the iceberg with this company. Shutting down any ability for people to enjoy their favorite Nintendo software that they bought in any way that Nintendo deems inappropriate. Emulators have existed in a gray region legally. The law is always changing in terms of what's allowed and not allowed, because it's not necessarily about the laws themselves, but about what can be enforced. It's a matter of precedence. So there was a famous case years ago, a big legal battle between Sony and the Kinectix Virtual Game Station, which was just a PS1 emulator for the Mac that lets you play your PS1 games. In the end, Sony lost, and that set a precedent for emulation, because other software makers could point to that case and say, look, that was ruled in favor of emulation software, so leave us alone because it's legal. And that was kind of the state of the conflict for a long time. Basically, until now, emulation has been legal as long as the emulators aren't using copyrighted code. This is why we often need BIOS files for our emulators, because those BIOS files are system files required to run the games, and the emulator makers can't include those in their software. It's up to you to get your BIOS files, either to obtain them from your devices that you own or download them like a filthy pirate. That's why emulation has been able to exist in this kind of legal limbo state, because it's not illegal to make emulators, and it's not illegal to back up your own games, but emulators can be used for illegal purposes, for piracy. So with that out of the way, let's talk about this new news. A couple days ago, Nintendo made a big move. They issued a DMCA takedown to the Dolphin emulator on Steam. So the Dolphin developers have removed the software from Steam, and they put out a statement saying they're going to look at their options. The way this is going to work is they can either take their software down off Steam, or they can choose to ignore the DMCA and leave it up, and then they'll be opening up themselves to being sued by Nintendo. and Nintendo loves to sue. They have all the money in the world and an army of lawyers. In the past, emulation has been legal because the emulators themselves don't contain copyrighted code, but Nintendo is taking a different approach now. They're using the DMCA's anti-circumvention provisions to target Dolphin. Nintendo is saying that it doesn't matter that Dolphin doesn't have Nintendo-authored source code, since Dolphin lets people play their game backups and thereby circumvent Nintendo's copy protection to make sure that GameCube games can only be played on GameCube hardware. That's a violation of this newer DMCA anti-circumvention stuff. So this is new ground legally, and the outcome of this could have far-reaching implications in terms of setting a precedent. Think about it. If Nintendo wins this, then what's to stop any hardware maker from pointing out at this outcome as a precedent and using it to take down the emulators that they don't want to exist? And here's the thing. The mere fact that something exists, like an emulator, and it is technically able to be litigated out of existence, it will be. Because this is what lawyers do. It's their only job, and they just do it, regardless of whether it's necessary or not. We've seen it a million times. This is bureaucracy at its finest.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
So there's lots of questions about this that we don't know the answers to yet. Would Nintendo actually go through with legal action? Would the Dolphin developers have the money and the resources to fight a legal battle over this? I don't know about that. I don't think they're billionaires. And even if we all chipped into like a crowd-funded legal battle, would it even be enough? Nintendo has lots of money that's burning a hole in their pocket, and they'd love to blow a few billion on striking a blow against emulation. Right now, it's about the Steam version. I think that's being targeted because it's low-hanging fruit. It's easy for Nintendo to issue DMCAs through Steam because Valve have a simple process to take in DMCAs and act on them. It's sort of like YouTube. But another unanswered question is whether or not this would go beyond the Steam version. Right now, Dolphin is open source on GitHub. Would Nintendo go on the warpath and target it on Android or GitHub? How far would they want to take this? Maybe they'll get the bloodlust after a victory or two and just go scorched earth on all of emulation. Dolphin is the target for now, but we've already seen Nintendo cracking down and getting lots of success. The Skyline developers bailed on their Android-based Switch emulator because of legal threat from Nintendo. And then Nintendo took down the 3DS eShop, which you probably heard about. We were all super thrilled about that. And then just like a month later, they had a surprise update for the 3DS that killed off the ability to play game backups. This is the level that Nintendo goes to. They don't want to sell or support the games. They don't want you to be able to download the games that you've bought. And they don't want you to even be able to play those games. They've got your money, so screw you. They would rather these games fade from existence than let you play them. So while I think it's totally reasonable for Nintendo not to want, whatever, Tears of the Kingdom sales to suffer because some people are choosing to pirate the game over buying it, and fight tooth and nail to stop that. That is a justified battle, and I hope they fight it and I hope they win. But nuking these emulators, especially something like Dolphin that plays GameCube games, like it's ancient technology that doesn't, you can't buy GameCube games or buy GameCubes anymore. Just Nintendo nuking all emulators is a solution that solves nothing, and it punishes a huge portion of the paying customers who are using these emulation tools to enjoy the games that we've bought in an ethical way that's better than any way that they're technically allowed to by Big Brother Nintendo. Dolphin is such an amazing emulator. It's one of the best emulators out there. Lets you play all your old favorite GameCube and Wii games on modern hardware with the ability to enhance them with upscaled resolutions and texture packs, unlocking the FPS, widescreen hacks, all sorts of stuff. Just emulators are amazing pieces of software. I showed off some emulation in my recent video. I was playing Zelda Wild Breath. I was using the Cemu emulator to play the game in a way that's better than I can on Nintendo's underpowered hardware. Yeah, I have this game. I own it, but they're cracking down on emulation blindly, and we, the actual fans of the games and the IPs, we are the ones getting caught in the crossfire. The pirates aren't gonna suffer. They'll steal whatever the hell they want. Good luck trying to stop them. But cracking down on emulation hurts the paying customers just as much, if not more, because we're the ones who love the products and want to support them, but they're making it harder for us to enjoy the games the way we want to enjoy them. Yeah, I showed you what I could do with emulation in that video. Zelda Wild Breath at 4K, 100 FPS with enhanced shadows and draw distance. How much better is that than playing at 30 FPS low detail on the Snitch? Picture this. Can you imagine what a cool world it would be if Nintendo not only allowed emulation but supported it? If like you bought Zelda Wild Breath and you could play it on your Switch on the go, but then when you're home with your badass gaming PC, you could play it there. Fully supported by Nintendo, even with DRM or whatever, to make sure that you own the game. And then also get the updates and multiplayer features or whatever, just because you own a licensed copy of the game. How cool would that be? How many more people would be buying these games because of that? This DRM and cracking down on third-party software hurts us paying customers the most. It gives the people following the rules the inferior experience, and then the pirates get all the flexibility in the world when it should be the other way around. Just look at what Steam has done. How many of you guys buy Steam games? You can just download pirated versions of those games, you know? It's pretty easy to do, so why don't you do that? Probably because you want all the stuff that you get from Steam. You want to support the developers, and you want the flexibility to have all your games synced up with cloud saves, and all your games are up to date with built-in Steam overlay stuff, and streaming, and multiplayer features, and all that good stuff. That's why we love Steam, because it's a better experience than pirating the game. There's a famous quote by Gabe Newell about this. He said, "The easiest way to stop piracy is not by putting anti-piracy technology to work. It's by giving those people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates." This is what Steam did, and they've used this strategy to single-handedly own PC gaming. Nintendo needs to take a lesson from Steam's approach here. The paying customers are not your enemies, and punishing everyone who doesn't play by your rules will not lead to more sales. It'll just push people away to the alternatives, whether it's going to other consoles or just resorting to piracy. So this was my ramble about the situation that has come up. I almost didn't make this video. I want to be positive and just show the good stuff, but I wanted to get this off my chest, I guess, and engage where you guys are at. I'm certainly no expert in copyright law or anything. I really hope the Dolphin devs can figure something out, but realistically, they probably won't. Nintendo has deep pockets. I think the best realistic outcome out here is that it ends here. They take Dolphin off Steam, and that's the last we hear about it for a while. But I'm worried, guys. I'm worried this is a slippery slope. So what do you guys think about all this? Are you worried too? Or am I being dumb? Am I worrying for nothing? Or am I just a filthy pirate that should be keel-hauled? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And click the thumbs up button if you liked the video, or don't if you didn't. That's it for me. I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.